Okay, thank you. So we have about half an hour for discussion. Thank you for all of you for your excellent control of your time during your talks. So in your talks, all of you covered your own situation in your own institutions, and also there are some exciting and very interesting projection into the future, like the chat GPT and the impact on that. Very exciting, very interesting. But I also remember a slide from Professor Song's talk that is about the demographic distribution of HEIs in the GBA. I took the time to count how many are there. About 90 HEIs, so close to 100. Of course, that support a large population mass, right? But also, I would think that it would trigger some thoughts, because most of us are engineers. Rocky is not engineer, but you're a biomedical engineer. All right, okay, all of us are engineers. So as engineers, we tend to think a system, right? How to control things. So, well, of course, in the Hong Kong jurisdiction, and I reckon that our UGC Secretary General, Dr. James Tang, is somewhere in the audience. So all the universities in Hong Kong are well organized under UGC. So thank you, Dr. Tang, for that. But if we extrapolate a little bit, right, to the GBA, this is under one country, two systems, and given such a vast number of institutions, how can the institutions actually do better in terms of producing synergistic effects, collaborate, and perhaps even compete, but in a healthy manner? Anybody? And language is free, as we have all demonstrated. So English, Chinese, both okay.
Maybe I'll get started. That's an excellent question, obviously. As Yonghua showed, the two sides of the GBA have some great difference, and Auburn is doing its job, of course, to lead the wild, wild west of the GBA. I think to answer your question, I think the key here is a little bit even more than collaborate, but synergize. Synergize means, I'll kind of tell you my personal definition of collaboration versus synergize. Collaboration is we find some things we have in common. I have been telling a lot of audience about the Sustainable Development Goals of as put forth by the United Nations, the 17 areas that include things like life underwater, climate change, green energy, quality education, et cetera, 17 very important things. So we agree, let's say 5 universities, we agree on certain thing, on a particular topic as being important. Then we get together. That's called collaboration. Now, synergize goes a little further. It's actually when you have to do a little bit of looking into yourself and say, I'm really strong here, I'm not so strong here. You have to be honest with yourself. Then you go find somebody, another institution, that is about as strong as you over here, but much stronger in the area that you're weaker. And then you go synergize. So I would suggest that when our GBA universities, for example, the upcoming meeting of the 粤港澳高校联盟, we can actually have a very close heart-to-heart talk and say, I would like to do better in these areas. I know you're really good. What can we do to help? And in return, I can help you do the same thing. So that's called synergy. That's called synergy. So I would strongly advocate that all the universities we don't have to all sit down and talk together because that's too many, but find a couple and then we really dig deep and collaborate and synergize.
Oh, I just want to come in a quick one. I guess institution very much like human beings. Okay, the way to have us synergize or collaborate. The key point is incentive. There's a reason for that. Okay, and that reason, it could be research funding. It could be a common goal. It could be a lot of times you're amazed. Okay, it's a friendship or someone's supervisor, working with the supervisor, the student already graduate and do very well, but then they tend to work into their network. That will be a reason that they will work together, and that needs to be cultivated, and you can't force it. And of course, if research funding money is always a good driver, but then a common goal, solving a problem that one cannot be solved, okay, alone in one lab or one university. I mean, that's a very good way, okay, to get people to work together. Thank you.
Professor Song?
Yeah, what I think we need to go beyond the university ourselves, because, so for example, we're all government-funded public universities. And because the universities in Hong Kong, in Macau, in Guangdong, and we will have our advantages and our strength. For example, university in Hong Kong and Macau were pretty good at some basic research, some internationalizations, and so on and so forth. But just like Professor Lee in the morning said, and all those entrepreneurship, all those happening in Guangdong or beyond. So the government, when they make policy, particularly like Hong Kong and Macau, they think what the return they will get. Yeah. So if there's no, I think we need some sort of coordinated policy above the universities, and with those resources, the funding, for example, and to come to support the area we have strength, advantage, and then of course we can contribute to the Greater Bay Area and beyond as well. So if we don't have that, if you go even to one country, two systems, one country, but we are three sort of separated and identity in the way of your own economy or even other things, like even the EU, and they need to have some across countries policy, even for research and for education. In that way, we will be happy to sort of utilize the complementary advantages or strengths. Yeah, so that's why I always say that somehow there are some sort of policy coordinated, yeah, in resources in particular, yeah.
Would you like to see more directives from the ministries of education from the different jurisdictions in terms of leading the HEIs into achieving synergistic effects, or funding agencies, for example?
It will be from those three regional governments to start with, I think. Hong Kong SRR, Macau SRR, and government and Guangdong government, because at the end of the day, a lot of things, if we produce in Hong Kong and Macau and Guangdong, those cities will benefit. That's why they want the university to go there. And the university here, we need to have those resources to keep the strength and better, yeah, use our advantage to support each other's, yeah.
I don't have a crystal ball to solve this problem, okay, to all give a good proposal. 我觉得整个这个，首先你要定义这个你最后的 measure 是什么 ？Why we want to do it？ 我有2个大学，我们这个 measure 是我们的 faculty performance， 啊，所以从大学教授本身来说，他这个 measure 是吧 ？KPI， 他是做自己 research， 做自己教育，所以你最后要人做。那么学校里头如果要做这件事情，首先要知道。 这个 collaboration synergize 是对整个学校有利，还是对整个这个 regional 或者整个教育有好处？所以呢，我觉得这个事情应该首先在这个 university level 要开始讨论，校长们要认识到，这个我们这个 region 是要更好的发展，使我们是 we are at the same page。如果有这样的思想，把它 put a higher priority。 你才能事情做成，否则的话呢，这是大家剩下的钱。比如说广东最近我也拿了钱，我们跟港科大做这个粤高大湾区竞争的那个叫什么奖，我们组织团队也拿了钱，最后有可能就变成了拿了钱分了，申请钱的时候在一起，拿了钱要分开， 所以我觉得这样的一种简单的这个合作，我觉得可能今后是不够的。比如说我讲句比较直接话，在大陆的学校，在现行政，什么是他最需要的？他博士名额。如果你要博士名额给他，很高兴。那么大陆对我们香港大学什么是指它的 industry 这个可能性，它的研究经费，如果能对你 complete open， 所以呢，我说广东省做得好的一件事，跟我们香港政府最好做一件事情，说我们有 big grant， 2个政府放在一起啊，然后告诉他只有2校联合，都一起来 measure， 我相信啊，我们校长们都激动。所以呢，我们应该想到，我现在没有 crystal ball， 我一直在想，你刚才提这个问题啊，我们每一次都讨论，但是最后呢，又做 we do something， 但最后感觉不过瘾。So we got to think deeply. That's all at the moment I can say. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Lee.
Well, I do share many views from my panelists over here. The collaboration is easy to say, okay, and the different level have different view. Usually the president or university can sign all kind of collaboration agreement, but no result. If the faculty don't participate, it's useless. And we like to, as academic, we like to collaborate with other colleagues, all right? And Professor Chen knows. Certain members think, well, why do you want to collaborate with your university? You will help their ranking, we're in trouble. That's mindset to some people, okay? They don't understand the benefit by collaboration. So some of them are narrow-minded, okay? And I think actually, to me, we have Clearwater Bay and Guangzhou. We're talking about unified education UST. But to faculty, they think, how can it benefit me? Well, they worry about, well, you take student from me or my student work with the other campus, how about lab space, all the small things, they don't, as a result, just don't bother. Okay, so actually I have proposed university like Clearwater Bay and Guangzhou come up some funding scheme. Okay, in Guangzhou, about 10% from Clearwater Bay, the other 90% from other places. They have no idea what HKUST, even we can unify HKUST. But we do want the faculty from both campuses working together. What's the best mechanism? Some kind of joint funding scheme. Where's the money coming from both universities? Only faculty, they collaborate. We can see some truly collaboration. Yeah. It's not easy, but some I think we have to push.
Can I just add one more thing? 再加讲一个很重要的因素。刚才主席说这个政府是很重要，我觉得还有一个很重要的 partner， 在21世纪的大学应该一定要也在把他们带进来，就是企业 industry。我们以前的大学是象牙塔。Pretty much， 可是21世纪的大学一定要入世。入世的话呢 ，we must get industry involved. And from the beginning， 不是有了什么 invention 拿了 patent 你要去找他们。So the more we do this and bring them in as very engaged partners， 不是来聊聊天吃顿饭就算了哈。We actually work with them。And to hear what they need, one of the ways to really motivate us and motivate them is to actually, because they have needs and we have skill set, but we don't necessarily communicate very well. Have them sit there and spend time and talk to us as opposed to us talking to them. And so then when we design programs or use ChatGPT, whatever, we will be addressing the needs of the society. They are, of course, a big part of society. They're not the only thing in the society, the community, obviously. So I would suggest to add that as well.
So the industry could also help to glue everybody together.
Sure.
Yes, Professor.
Yeah, I have one more opinion on this. 我觉得一方面 we got to from a top-down approach. 有些政府的这个引导资金在校长 level。实际刚才Lennon 讲的非常重要，实际 collaboration is among between the faculty 所以呢最重要的是bottom up。从大学角度来讲，我们要支持这样一个东西。我想起我以前实际上我 I have a bold proposal。实际上我当初跟那个 Queensland Australia， 我跟他那个校长特别好，合作非常愉快。当时我就建议说，哎 ，let's collaborate。最好的 collaboration 的 proposal 就是 faculty hire jointly。我觉得这个可能解决我们的距离问题。6个月这边，6个月那边，你可以跑来跑去。我们这个，我当时跟他没法做，是因为 Australia。One flight will take probably 10 hours, right? 但是我们这里 1 hour will solve the problem。所以我觉得能不能大家想一想，能不能胆子比较大一点？真要 collaborate， 我们看看能不能 join the hire。我现在在宁波可能稍微有点远，但是我建议你们跟薛其坤校长说啊，港科大跟你联合 hire faculty。我觉得这样子 stimulate 他们自己有 motivation 来把旁边的人一起坐在一起。我想哪些大学胆子大一点可以试试。
Okay, I suppose we should let the floor also raise some questions, either on this point or any other points you would like to make. Yes, that gentleman first. Can somebody bring him the microphone?
Thank you very much. 我想问一个问题，可能是 Alex 比较直接。你今天讲到了 AI 的影响，因为我们今天讨论的是高等教育的角色。我就想，如果有一天人脑跟那个电脑这个真正连在一起了以后，就是说你可能花几天时间，你就可以把一个大学的课程可能就全部输到脑袋里面。我觉得如果那一天到来的话，不是不可能的。就是说，那么我们那个时候高等教育的角色是什么？
Well, actually, I am not in AI. Maybe AI expert sitting right next to me. I mean, I'm the wrong person to ask. I'm just a techie who like to play with the technology. So I know you pick it up later, okay?
Well, you set me up, Alex.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm a computer scientist. I never believe AI. I remember back in, right after I got my PhD in 1980, and that's one of the peak time for AI. But those working, I couldn't find job. So I said, this is useless. Until about 7, 8 years ago, I have no choice. But let me put it this way. I like Alex's talk. What's the purpose of education? You want people to learn. But there are many ways you can learn. You can learn from professor, learn from newspaper, and learn from ChatGPT. So I think first, university should not ban ChatGPT at all. Okay? We have to train the professor, teacher, to adapt to new tool. That's important. Okay, so some 10 years later, ChatGPT can make you even more smart, more knowledgeable. Don't worry about this. The most stupid thing is to ban the ChatGPT.
Well, actually, I tried to attempt to answer your questions, but time was running out when I was doing a presentation, so I go over that very quickly. The question I'm asking is, the way that we are structured education, the way that we are right now, are still needed. Now, you don't need to have your human brain tied with some chips as in some sci-fi movie. What we have right now is that I didn't go to the details about. I remember I have a slide that talked about the Tsinghua professor, saying that the ChatGPT can pass and get 75% out of the final exam paper, right? If you read the news, okay, he actually suggests that. When the professor, set a question in exam, send it to ChatGPT. If ChatGPT can answer it, take that question away. It comes down to, it's a true personal story. When I was young, when I was in high school, my father worried that I cannot pass the high school examination, so he bought me a typewriter, mechanical one, so that I can learn how to type. If I flunk my exam, at least I can go to do some, what they call is shanker, and so you can make a living. Of course, there's no typist anymore these days, right? So a lot of jobs that these days seem what we call profession. It end up can be replaced by, a program. Just like, in the Industrial Revolution, when human or animal farm power, the land can be done by machine, those jobs will be gone. Same here. Now, whether there's something called, some people actually it's called oxymoron, where artificial intelligence, whether you can actually have that. That's leave it to the philosopher, although we are all PhDs, okay? The key point is that I'm asking a very basic question, because no matter how high-sounding ideal that we are, okay, we take so much public money, okay, to educate the future generation. And one thing is that they have to have a job in future, okay, that contribute to the economy. But if we are engaging in what we are doing now, the student came out from our system in 5-10 years' time, there's no job for them to go to. I always challenge anyone in translation in this room.
There should be, somebody should be translating.
I always challenge the translation.
They need a job. They need
the department. Nobody need a translator, okay, in 10 years' time. And they respond always, the machine cannot translate a poem. How often you need to translate a poem? Come on, okay? So I think the key point is not the sci-fi version of how AI take over human mind, all those things. It's rather how different job type will disappear. Just like, industrial revolution, information revolution. Now when you get to, this AI revolution, what kind of job type will be replaced? That's my view. Thank you.
Yes, Professor.
Yeah, 刚才这个问题 remind me of some kind of like alien invaded the world. Okay, we are much better than that. 因为 alien 的 civilization 跟 human 的 civilization you don't know. 我们现在这个人工智能导致的 civilization， 我们这个碳基 silicon 的 base technology， 跟我们 organic human brain， 第一个我觉得他们的接口问题，他们的 communication is still a long way。我们最近我在一个review committee， 有一个人写了非常好的 proposal， 要做这个 reject， 因为 too early，it's a hypothetical。当然，很多人已经在做这个问题，所以我觉得我们首先我们这个时间到来，我觉得可能还 take some time。We have still 这个 time to respond， 所以不需要这个太nervous 对这个问题。第二个呢，我觉得这个我们对这个人类与计算机。这个智能，人类的真实智能和这个artificial intelligence 这个智能的共存，我觉得涉及到很多其他的这个什么法律的问题、道德的问题，我觉得是需要整个 community 一起来讨论，是吧？因为 at the moment we are still master of this world. We can shut down. We can shut down the energy supply. Okay.所以但是我们慢慢的会走到，我觉得沿着一条正确的道路，对人类是共存，或者对人类生活、幸福生活是增加的。所以这里头很多问题。所以 don't be pessimistic or don't be nervous. That's what my answer.
Somebody also raised his hand on this side. Yes.
Hello， 我叫史文忠，是香港理工大学的老师。我从事智慧城市方面的研究。我很高兴看到宋校长在您的国家重点实验室里3个之一是做智慧城市的。我也很高兴看到段校长在您讲你大学里的研究方向，第一个方向是 Smart and Sustainable City， 所以很高兴有同行。我问2个问题。第一个问题，在未来20年。你们认为我们的研究领域最值得研究的3大领域是什么？第二个问题，在未来的20年，我们的学科里头有哪些学科，比如说1/3要砍掉的，或者一半要砍掉的？您觉得哪些要砍掉？这个我们都不办这个方向了。就这2个问题，谢谢。
Very challenging questions.
大学校长可能不需要这个职位了刚才谢谢你的问题。刚才提到那个 AI 跟ChatGPT， 我也想，因为我是 biomedical engineer， 所以在现在的这方面的研究下去的话呢，人类的寿命不止 Alex 讲的到60岁，这 one third 这样子。以后呢，100多岁是 绝对没有问题的啊。It will come sooner than you think. Genetic engineering 这些 technology 都会有。所以那个时候呢，假如你 dealing with 150岁的一个人呢那个是不是现在的人呢？可能不一样的，他的 thinking， 他的 cumulative knowledge、cumulative expectation 都不一样了。他去大学念4年以后，还有120多年剩下来。What are you going to do with this 120多年？So 第一个，我们大学 I really strongly suggest we need to be an institution of continuing education. 我们不是18、22就完了even a little bit of postgraduate school. 我们能不能有个 mechanism, very easily accessible in whatever form? We can work for ChatGPT, for example, but it will be always available for somebody who in the not so distant future 会活到150岁的我们的大学这个 system 已经1000多年了。It's like any organization， 朝代的话老早就没有了，为什么现在还在？我们下一代是怎么样呢？绝对好像 Alex 讲，一定要 change. Resistance is futile. OK， 所以怎么去 change？ We need to think about 这些150岁的人以后，当然 long after 我们 retire。OK，but the point is that 大学要活下去call 大学we need to change。刚才你说哪几科哪一些东西要这个炒鱿鱼very hard to tell. I also don't have a crystal ball. And 我找不到 crystal ball. 可能气球有一个 But anyway, that's a different story. But anyway, the point is that we don't know. But I also want to point out, 这里都是 engineers 我觉得很重要的 humanities. Don't forget that. Don't forget humanities. 人就是人 because of humanities first. 假如我们只是有些 skill set， 那个就完了 ，ChatGPT 那就 will replace. But if we have humanity, and that means compassion, that means responsibility, that means care, that means kinship, that means mutual support. 孟子说，你看那个人小孩子掉井里就马上去，这个东西一定要有这个才是人。So university must nurture that. Make sure that doesn't ever go away. No. Sorry, 没有 answer 你的 question.
Professor Y first, and then Professor So.
OK， 许教授这个问题first what discipline to well I don't know I have no crystal ball either. OK, but I think anything that do with biology, OK, the brain is a very hard topic. Actually, China, Europe, US have big program where to understand how you think. We don't know. We don't understand how we send people to the moon. We send probes to Mars. But I think understand ourselves from actual health. Maybe live 150 years, 200 years. That will always be there because it affect each of us very personally. I think that has to be there. Okay, and what discipline that will disappear? I won't say so. I mean, okay, we are industrial revolution, right? Farming, the way we farm change, but every culture is still there. It's just different. That's why in my university we use the word transdisciplinary. As I explained earlier, the trans stand for doesn't. If you ask Google Translate, transdisciplinary and interdisciplinary, they translate the same way. 跨学科. Now, we interpret differently, okay? Inter is that you have it overlap. Trans is transmute, transformation, changing, okay? So, if anything that, a machine or smarter machine or mechanical machine, a car, in the old days, just move you one place to another, right? So the horse trainer and so on, most of them lost their job. But then rise mechanics. And cars are dumb, right? Now car gets smarter, computer gets smarter, and they do things that we tend to think are intellectual jobs. that we need a lot of intelligence. But to me, they're different level of intelligence. So the ChatGPT-alike type of program will take away the superficial, let me call it superficial intelligence, okay? Things that you just get the information, put in an organized way, now program can do it. Perhaps they can do it better in a few years' time. But are there really jobs that only human can do? Well, I don't know. That you need to go to sci-fi movie and ask those questions, okay? Will there one day, the human race will be replaced by the machines? Well, I tend to be optimistic. I like to be an optimist, okay? I think there's something in us, in the wetware, carbon-based, that perhaps, silicon-based machine cannot replace. Thank you.
好，那这个时间关系，我就简单讲3观点啊，非常简单。第一个呢，就是因为我们搞大学的，我们搞教育的，我们搞研究的，是我们人为划分那么多学科。实际世界上呢，它都是问题，就是这个问题，现在的问题、未来的问题、技术的问题还是人文的问题，它都需要多学科的。我觉得就和今后的融合，今后的学科的每个的重点啊交叉，包括它探索的，我觉得。我们不好说哪个学科走掉，可能在解决这个问题的轻重融合交叉，还是 trans， 还是 interdisciplinary， 还是怎么回事啊？我觉得这个是我第一个对学科的，是我们人为造的，没办法啊。我们这些年还根据这个在做啊教育。第二个呢，其实我们今天都是工程师啊，都是技术人员。其实技术和这个社会科学和思想，我经常说我是搞技术，我到。管学科的在内地，在浙大，它人文社科很多，在澳大也是70%人文社科。其实我们想一想，我们科技发展太快，但是思想的变迁，伟大思想的变迁，我敬佩他们搞人文社科的，搞社科的思想可能影响几十年、几百年，有人文的东西迎接几千年。我觉得这个东西是机器和其他不能代替，只是我们搞科技的，经常把科技对社会的贡献。他因为马上就能见效，但我们也知道，我这样说，能够用政策去policy 去解决的时候，它是最廉价，但是它的影响也最长远，它可能也解决了一些根本问题。在这个基础上，我们当然要发展科技。对象就我们中国要没有开放没小平，那40年，你没有那个开放的这么一个政策，所以我觉得我们经常搞科技和搞人文社科，我们要一个对话。再一个，最后就是第3点，物质文明、物质和精神的东西。你 GPT， ChatGPT 还有其他东西，数字世界，到后来我们都要吃饭，我们都要生存，我们都要在这个。所以物质和精神，我就说技术和人文，还有一个就问题与学科。这几个东西，我们其实搞教育的要去深刻的思考。一旦深刻思考过后，就是这人工智能的东西，有些东西确实是替代的、阶段的，那它会帮助人类进步，而不是我们感到这种危机啊。这是我的对这个一点看法啊。
还好，代表我留在港大是对的，因为我们的校训是明德格物。OK，yes， please。
这个我还记得很多年前对人家找我讲，那时候韩国不是复制人嘛，复制基因嘛。我想，刚才 Rocky 也讲，你要活了150岁、200岁，我讲很多科研是不应该做的。如果我们可以到150岁、200岁，表示我们人都不会死，那就我们一起死，对不对？地球资源是有限的。所以第一个我不相信机器人可以做到跟人一样，它只是一个高级工具。OK， 如果这个东西可以做的是不应该做的。OK， 除非我们搞 Elon Musk 把我们移民到外星球去。
Okay, I'm afraid that this is what we have got time for. So, would the audience please join me to give our panelists a big round of applause?